It's honestly kind of crazy that I'm able to make 5K a month from 5,000 YouTube subscribers. It's weird though, right? Like, that'll work for a month or 2 months and I'll just be like, cool, I found my thing. I'm just going to do nothing but that. And then it just starts to drop off.
Jack has been able to reach $5,000 a month teaching banjo in just 1 year. He's played the banjo for 15 years as a hobby, and after exiting a SaaS business, he decided to make a go of teaching. And in that past year, he's built up his YouTube channel, built several courses, is building a solid banjo education business. Now today, we're going to be talking about how he managed to do that, what funnel he uses, how he built his YouTube audience, why being obsessive is better than being an expert, and why he shows his struggles learning to his audience.
People sign up, they binge everything in a couple days and then cancel. I'm like, it's $5 a month. Stick with me.
Yeah. I definitely see course creators who are a few years in and are doing it as a side gig and are not managed this yet. You've been working full time on this, right? That's pretty outstanding. Hello and welcome to the Art of Selling Online Courses. We're here to share winning strategies and secret hacks from top performers in the online course industry. My name's John Ainsworth, and today's guest is Jack Kowalski. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John.
So, talk us through the journey. It's been a year,
Yep.
and you've gone from complete beginner, like nothing in place, to making $5,000 a month. Talk us through that journey, just in a few minutes, to give everyone kind of an idea of how that's happened.
Yeah, well, funny thing too is it kind of started with breakfast with you. Shortly before I kind of started, I said, "I'm sick of doing software. I'm either gonna teach the banjo or open a corn dog stand."
I remember that. I was
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about?
But yeah, so I started kind of putting out a few YouTube videos just as an experiment. They look like hostage crisis videos now. But yeah, around January of 2024, I just decided I'm going to get serious about it. I'm going to give myself a year and see what I can do. So the biggest thing I did was just get consistent with YouTube. So every single week, I don't think I missed a single week or maybe 1 week the entire year, putting out a long form video every Friday and just kind of targeting YouTube search. So I'm in a pretty small niche, clawhammer banjo. It's a specific sub niche of banjo, which means search is really strong.
But luckily, banjo is a massive niche in and of itself, right?
It's not bad.
Oh, I was joking, but okay.
No, it is. I mean, it's okay. Like the sort of top performers in this niche maybe have 100,000 subscribers.
Right.
So it's not.
It is
it's
pretty
not-
small.
It is,
Okay,
it is
yeah.
pretty small. Yeah. And right away, the first thing I did was I said, well, I'm going to do when I got 100 subscribers. And I said, okay, well, I'm famous now. I'm a famous banjo player. I'm going to try to sell something. I said, I'm going to do a live class.
Uh-huh.
I spent like 2 weeks kind of promoting it or whatever, and I sold it for $10. And I got one person showed up.
Yeah.
Ed, he still comes to all my things, which is awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, and really just kind of talking to you, learning from our friends. I really learned a lot about funnels, how these course businesses work. I built several courses. I was basically delivering them live at first to sort of get a feel for what works and just staying rock solid consistent with that YouTube.
Nice. So it's been about growing on YouTube. That's been your main channel. How many courses have you created over the course of the year?
Too many. 6 or 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Counting the mini courses.
So some people really struggle with this. They're like, be like, oh, it's 6 months to make a course. And in a year, you've made 6 or 7 courses. Like, that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah. Well, I'm really lucky. My audience is super communicative. So I get a lot of emails. I talk to a lot of them. And when they tell me stuff they want to learn, and I know this is like a common struggle, I'm just kind of, well, maybe I can do something around this. And a lot of times it ends up turning into a course. I was also, for most of the year, I was delivering a live group class every week. So I was using those to turn into courses.
Nice. Okay, cool. So we'll go into each of these parts in depth. But so overall, the concept is you've been really consistent on YouTube. You've built up, you've done one video per week, plus shorts on top, right? That you
Right, yeah.
mentioned. You are targeting YouTube search in particular. So you're like now appearing high up on almost all the clawhammer banjo search terms. You've made you've done live classes. You've been in like real close contact with your audience. You've done turning that stuff into courses, and you've been like selling the courses. How often have you been selling those?
I don't sell many outside of the promotions because I'm kind of bad about updating my website.
Mm-hmm.
But I do an email promotion every month that
Every month.
lasts 2 weeks, and yeah, so I sell pretty much everything during that time.
Nice. All right, cool. Let's kind of get into a little bit more detail. So, how did you choose YouTube as your content strategy? Why was that the channel for you?
Um, well, when I started about 15 years ago, I learned a ton from YouTube, and so it made sense. I felt like that was a good spot to target. That's where a lot of people teach, is where a lot of people go to learn, and I just figured I could put out some good content there.
Nice. All right, cool. What kind of videos have worked for you on the channel? What's been because there's different types of YouTube videos you can do. Some more educational, some more entertainment, some more like in details, some more ridiculous. So what kind of things have you found have been like good video formats for you?
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, people just want like hard education, right? And I found that's not like that helps. That gets me to a certain point, but it's not what a lot of people are looking for. So I'm just now trying to get a little more into general banjo entertainment or folk music entertainment. But for the last year, I've mostly been doing technique videos,
Mm-hmm.
specific song lessons, some performances, and then sort of multi packs of songs, I call them, where I'll say like, oh, we're gonna look at 5 songs about this topic or in this tuning or whatever.
Give me an example. Give the audience an example of because I know like some of the topics that you might include.
Yeah. Oh, I did for Halloween I did 5 songs about murder. So we looked at 5 classic murder ballads. I always like to make them fun like that. Sometimes I'll just do like 5 easy songs, or I think I did 5 recipe songs where for some reason a lot of banjo music just is recounting recipes for things like groundhog and stuff. Yeah.
Of course,
Right.
of course. What groundhog, like as in Groundhog Day, that little kind of thing that looks a bit like a chipmunk.
My favorite thing, a lot of times, like, and I didn't really think about this in the moment when I recorded, but I was like, I asked, has anyone ever actually tried groundhog? Like, I'd love to hear about it. And I've gotten so many comments from people that tell me their stories about eating groundhogs.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I can't remember. I think I told you at the time, but I mentioned something about the fact that you were playing banjo, and I was about to say and something to my friend, and he said, and cooking rats in a swamp. That was his like, if you play the banjo, that's your hobby number 2.
That's the Deliverance effect. You know what I mean? Like
I haven't seen this movie, but
yeah. That's where everyone gets their image of banjo players.
got it. All right,
Yeah.
cool. They're the rat cooking, swamp living, banjo playing people.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like that's the thing I love about this. It's crazy, such a cool, intricate history that is just across countries, across everything. And yeah, it's funny because people get that picture in their head of the banjo player, right? But it's like not super accurate, but it's a standard, yeah.
And so you've mentioned that you post on YouTube once a week with long form.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you post short form? How many short form
Yeah,
videos?
I just looked at this actually. So I think I did about 130 short form videos last year. So I guess that works out to about 3 a week.
Yeah.
But in practice, it works out to every day for a month or 2 months, and then I get behind and I don't post for a month. Um, Shorts are weird, right? Because they tend to do a lot more views than the long form videos. Um, but it's weird. So I've noticed they convert at about 1%. And when I say convert, I mean convert to subscribers, convert to my mailing list at about 10% of the rate of my long form videos. But they tend to do about 10 times the views of my long form videos. So I think
Right.
it is worthwhile to do.
Mm. So we'll get actually into the details of that. I think how are you promoting your lead magnets and get people onto your email list from short form? Because I feel like that's an area where people drop the ball.
It's hard, right? Because no one clicks to the description.
Right.
So you just have to either.
I struggle to find where the description is
Yeah.
still on short form, even though I'm on YouTube for work all the time.
It's weird, right? Because sometimes you want to see when a short was posted, and that's only in the description. And so recently, yeah, I remember having to click around a bunch to figure out where the description was. You can do it in the comments, but most people won't read the comments either. So I find the thing that works the best is to just say it. Or have something at the bottom of the screen. It's easy for banjo because I give sheet music away as my lead magnets or tabs. So I just say, oh, check my site or check my channel to grab the lead magnet.
Do you say like banjoskills.com slash whatever lead magnet?
Sometimes I've tried a bunch of different ways for this actually, and I think that is usually what works best is to give it a really simple URL like banjoskills.com/tab or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How, when you're thinking about how much time you spend creating courses, creating YouTube videos, just playing banjo, how do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a lot, right? I think the nice thing is like I still kind of consider myself a student of it, so a lot of it is me exploring.
Mm-hmm.
But like as an example, today, like I'm working on my YouTube video for this week, but I spent about 3 hours before I came here today playing banjo. When I get home, I'll record some course videos. I think in average, it's probably about equal time spent doing all three,
Mm-hmm.
um, which equates to close to 40 hours a week. I'm trying, as someone that is a compulsive course creator, I've made way too many. I'm trying to cut that down and spend a little more time on content. I would like to be more consistent with the short form and things like that.
You've mentioned before that you think it's better to be seen as being obsessive than to be an expert. Can you talk me through that philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you look at these music instructors, right? And I've kind of looked at people across all types of instrument and things like that. And like the ones that I really resonate at least are the ones that are just constantly exploring, going down rabbit holes. And sometimes they do videos on really weird little things, but like that's kind of what makes me a fan of them.
Mm.
Um, as an example, I recently did a video on doing harmonics on the banjo, like those Van Halen guitar tappy type
Mm-hmm.
things. You can do that on the banjo a little bit. And like as a super tiny thing that most people aren't going to be interested in, but like I think that's a really cool thing to add to your channel at least sometimes because it's going to get the people that do want to go down those rabbit holes.
Mm. You also told me that you are really willing to show your audience when you're struggling with something rather than trying to be seen as like, I know I'm the expert, I know about this thing.
Huge thing. Like it's funny. I did a live stream recently, so I have a couple of books of tabs, and I did a live stream where I was recording the audio tracks for the book because every tab in the book gets two audio tracks. And like a bunch of people commented, like it was really cool seeing you screw these up, right? Because like I had plenty of false starts or I got halfway through and hit a wrong note or something like that. Like that, I think that makes you feel it's weird, right? When you see someone that just plays perfectly, it doesn't feel like they're human.
Mm.
So I think it's better to just be super open, leave some of your mess ups in. It's okay, and it also makes them feel better. Like um, if people just think that like the ideal is like perfection, like then it's easy to give up on the instrument.
Mm.
When, like even good players, screw up occasionally. It's all right. Um, Actually, the video I'm releasing this week, I'm super excited about it. I've had this banjo tab book from like the 70s forever that the songs in are just impossible to play. And I found like the hardest one in there and said, I'm just going to try to learn this on for my YouTube video. And I'm just completely frustrated by the end of it and just cursing, angry, like whatever. It was just like impossible to play the song. I actually left it and came back the next day. But like in between, I'm like, I'm never gonna get this song. I should just scrap this video. But like that's the kind of thing. Like it's entertaining, but also like it shows like yeah, this stuff's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you pull your chair up a little bit more? I think this mic's maybe a little bit far from
Sure.
your
Oops, sorry, John.
mouth. Cool. Was there any time when you found that was difficult to show that you didn't know what you're doing on something, and like how did you get past that? If that's
The beginning for sure. Like one thing that kept me from starting for a while. Like I kind of started thinking about this in like August and didn't really start until like January. Because when I started to do this content, I was like, oh, let me see what other people are doing, and I was like, oh, there's people that are better than me, therefore I can't teach or
mm-hmm.
whatever, and like I guess it was this imposter syndrome, right? And so when I started, I was very like, okay, only the best possible takes. I do a song, 100 times to make sure it was perfect and all that, and then I don't know. I guess I just realized like, yeah, even there's always going to be people better than me. I think that it's better to just do what I think is is going to resonate with people, and if it does resonate with them, then that's good. If they want that perfect teacher that never makes a mistake, then they can find them as well.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the people I watch, like fitness YouTubers, that are the most fun are the ones who are like, look, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Right? I am like I'm watching these other people who really seem to know what they're doing, and I'm figuring it out, and I'm trying this thing, and this seems to be working for me right now, and I'm struggling with
yeah.
this and whatever. And you're like, oh, cool, you're going on the journey with them, you know?
It's weird, right? Like I don't see people give like I mean people can kind of give credit to like the old time banjo guys, like, oh, I learned this from this version or whatever, but like I'm happy to be like, oh, I was watching this guy's YouTube video the other day. He does this really cool thing. Here's me attempting it, like it's fine to like spread that around and let people know about cool stuff out there.
Mm.
And I think that helps people connect with you more again too, because you're not sort of gatekeeping this stuff that you know about that they don't.
Mm. So what have you managed to get your YouTube channel up to now in terms of subscribers, views per month, that kind of thing?
I think it's a 5,300 subscribers right now.
Okay.
Views per month are between 40 and 50,000.
Okay. And so, oh, wait a minute. Is that including shorts?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Got it. I was like, that's massive compared to your number of subscribers.
I think it's about 30,000 long form views, and
That's solid. Yeah.
yeah, it does all right.
All right, cool.
And then the rest are shorts.
So one of the things you're doing incredibly well is you're managing to get a lot of the people who watch your long form views onto your email list.
Right.
What are you doing differently to other people on that?
Yeah, I think that's like the big. I think that's why I was able to build a business with 5,300 YouTube subscribers. The big thing is giving away like really good stuff. So if I play a song at all, I'm always like, and you can get I write out the tab and give that away for free. So anything you see me do, you can get like sort of the exact way I do it by just signing up to my email list. And I give away 40 or 50 tabs like that I've written over the last year. And I try to make it part of my video.
Yeah.
So I don't normally, if I'm teaching a song, I don't really show the tab on the screen too much unless it's like a really, small piece of it. And I just say, grab the tab to follow along. I put that right in the beginning of the video, or I'll tell them like, hey, it takes a few minutes because it does for my email system to send it. So grab it now. By the time you're done watching the instructional part, you can dive right in. And music's weird, right? Like music, I'd be curious. I don't know if other people notice this, but a lot of musicians are really just looking for tabs a lot of times. So I notice like on the videos where I give away tabs, I have fairly low retention because I think people are watching sometimes up to the point where I give away a tab and like, oh, cool, there's the link, and they go get it and jet. But it's still really valuable for getting banjo players onto my list.
What do you then do in terms of where do you put the link for the
First line of the description?
First line in the description. Okay. Do you do pinned comment as well?
If I remember.
Right. Okay.
30% of the time. Yeah.
So I was looking at one of your videos and it was missing. I was looking at some earlier today and it was missing something. It was either it was not in the pinned comment, or it was in the description, but not the first. I think it was in the first line in the description, but it wasn't in the pinned comment.
That's probably right. Yeah. I'm really good about the description, not so good about the comment.
Yeah. So what kind of opt-in rate are you getting on those videos?
If I give away, like, I think my highest one is it's a 5 songs for beginners, and I think that one's about 7% of the views have made it onto my email list.
Wow. So for anybody watching who doesn't know, it's like if you never really tracked this, a normal opt-in rate on a YouTube video is probably about 0.5%, the way most people are doing it. And most people have got, maybe they've got a lead magnet somewhere in the description. They don't mention it in the video. Or they say, oh, go and check out my website. But it's not like, here's the exact link. Here's the reason why you should get this particular lead magnet that goes with this video. It's in the first line of the description. And so changing these things makes a massive difference. And it grows the email list way, way, way faster, which then is the way that you actually make money in this kind of a business, is by having the bigger email list. So are there any other tips that you've learned in terms of, it sounds like you're doing an individual lead magnet per video.
Usually, yeah.
How much time is that taking?
I have to, well, see, this is the problem with doing a music channel, is I have to arrange songs. So much of my time just goes into finding old songs and making my own version of them. So actually writing the tab is just a matter of sort of balancing the banjo on my knee and typing it out while I play it. And it maybe adds an extra 30 minutes to learning the song. The song can take me a full day, to learn, but once I have that, it's pretty easy to do the lead magnet part.
How long does it take you to set up a new landing page, whatever? Have you got like a standard
Yeah,
template?
yeah. So I just literally duplicate the last one, change out the form. The whole process takes me about 10 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
cool. And you're doing that in Kit?
Kajabi.
In Kajabi.
Yeah, I
Got
use
it.
Kajabi for everything just because I didn't know what I was doing when I started. I
Mhm.
mean, I think they're really great, but I wanted that all-in-one thing that would just kind of handle everything for me.
From an email marketing point of view, when you're actually making offers, you said you're doing a promotion once a month. What's your approach to that?
Yeah, so I do a week of content sort of related to the problem.
Hmm.
So I usually do like two emails Monday and Wednesday, and then Friday I'll do just an exclusive video just for my list where I maybe do a 10 to 15 minute video that demonstrates an exercise or something that we've been talking about. I just say stay tuned Monday, something cool's coming, and then next week I do 6 open cart emails.
Hmm.
That works.
So Monday through
Mhm.
Friday, two on Friday,
Yeah.
and then what are you covering in those emails?
Um, the first email is really just to talk about the course, what's
Hmm.
in it. And actually, I feel like I've done enough of these. I kind of have a decent formula. So that first email just says like, here's the offer, here's what's in the course, go check it out. The second day, I usually give some sort of preview of the course. So, you know, maybe a 20-minute chunk of the course or whatever,
Hmm.
like the first 20 minutes. Um, then I'll usually talk about like the guarantee or whatever for the third email because that seems to like make people feel better, you
Hmm.
know. Um, and then it's really just kind of that going, going, gone. You got 24 hours left, you got 12 hours left.
Got it. And what kind of percentage are you seeing of your email list to buy when you do one of these?
It's about half to 1%.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's solid.
yeah.
Really solid. Nice. Okay. And how does that add up in terms of like you're making like 5 grand a month? Is that all from those courses? How much is from like anything higher price that you're offering as well in terms of like one-to-one lessons or anything else?
Yeah, I do a few lessons here and there. I don't do a ton. I think about half to two-thirds is from that promo, and then the rest is from the Tripwire offer because I sell quite a few of those.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, can you talk them through what a tripwire is?
Yeah, so when someone grabs one of my lead magnets, they immediately get a page that says, "Okay, your lead magnet's on the way. By the way, I've got this whole book of like 40 or 45 tabs. And you get a 1 hour class I recorded that I'll teach you one of these songs, and it's $17.
Hmm.
And I wish I could remember the exact percentage. I want to say it's around 5% of opt-ins to the list end up purchasing with it.
Okay,
So
that's solid.
yeah, it ends up being pretty decent.
And how much do you make a month from that?
I think in the last month I made about 1,500 from that. Yeah,
Nice. That's great. It's a
yeah,
substantial part.
yeah. And there's some upsell, like there's a order bump and upsell afterwards. Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
me so happy.
um, And oh, I want to say, like, I recently finally did a welcome email sequence. I did not have one for a long time, and like, that's I don't get like that many email list signups, but I haven't looked at like what the percentage is, but I've sold 4 or 5 courses through that in the last month,
Nice.
outside of the promo, which is nice because I wasn't really selling hardly anything outside of the promo before.
So, on a YouTube point of view, one of the things that we talk through nearly every week is titles, thumbnails, ideas for videos, this kind of thing. What have you tried with thumbnails and what's worked, what hasn't worked for you?
Yeah, I've tried a ton. And I'm still experimenting, sort of trying to find that perfect formula. Banjo stuff is weird, right? Like when I look at the stuff that does really well, a lot of times it's like an iPhone pointed up the guy's nose that somehow has 6 million views. So it's like hard to say. Um, what I found generally works best for banjo or for like my stuff is those sort of standard YouTube thumbnails, the shocked face, sort of highly stylized with some cool text or whatever. Um, Weirdly, and I wonder if this is like um, a YouTube size thing, is that the best thumbnails for me just show the banjo super prominently. And maybe that's
Hmm.
just so it's very clear it's not a guitar video or something like that. But like my absolute highest performing thumbnails are always just like a close up of the banjo, the round part of the banjo with some text on it. Um,
Well, wait a minute. You showed me some the other day where you'd had really good click through rate and it just been the picture with no text, and then you tried one with the text and it had done worse.
That is
Has
true.
anything changed since then?
No, that's a really good point. I think actually my highest performing thumbnail of all time, um, maybe it's just intriguing. It's just a close up of the banjo. It's not even a very good picture. I had like an iPhone 10 at the time, um, and the title is "Let's Learn a Spooky One."
Right.
Like that one had like I never have phenomenal click-through rates, but I think that one has had like 6% click-through rate over like a year.
Nice.
Um, it's weird though, right? Like that'll work for a month or 2 months, and I'll just be like, cool, I found my thing. I'm just gonna do nothing but that, and then it just starts to drop off. It feels like you need kind of fresh, at least for me, I feel like I need kind of fresh thumbnail styles to keep going. Um, I had that recently where I used ChatGPT to make this really cool, dark, cozy, orangey background. And I was using that, and that was like getting me like 5.5% click-through rates, and then for like 3 or 4 videos, and then just back down.
Interesting. When I chat with Oscar, who's been on this podcast before, about this, he says that the point of the thumbnail is to stop the scroll, and the point of the title is to get the click. So it'd be interesting to have a look at, okay, well, what titles have you got with, maybe this works, but only with this kind of title.
Yeah,
And,
I've had that thought too. And actually, I think that Let's Learn a Spooky one, I think that was inspired by someone you sent me, Ollie Parker, the trumpet player. And he has just weird titles like that kind of make you want to click.
Right.
I feel like that one, it may well have been the title that did it on that one.
Yeah, and the type of titles that work for search versus discovery are like wildly different.
Yeah.
So like, let's play a spooky one is like a more curiosity based, like, oh, that's surprising. Or that's kind of, and what about, so talk us through, you've started using ChatGPT because they've just released this new version of image creation, which is like crazy good.
Yeah.
So talk us through that.
Because I was using Fiverr for a while, and it was okay, but and I was starting to get a little frustrated with it, and ChatGPT just dropped that new image generation thing last week, and I decided to try it, and it's like incredible. Like I can just put a picture of me playing the banjo, just a screenshot, and say, well, I actually want this facial expression, or these changes to it, make it look like a stylish YouTube thumbnail, and it just does it. So, but then I usually go crazy and start adding robot arms and
Have you tried any of them as an actual thumbnail?
I haven't. No. But the one I'm doing this week is like fully
Don't lose your
generated.
nerve, Jack.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Robot arms.
Yeah, maybe this. Yeah, because the one this week is like totally from ChatGPT.
Do it as an A/B test.
I will.
That's the
actually.
feature,
Okay,
right?
all
That's the feature built in.
Done. I'll try.
Try it and see.
All right.
Do banjo players like the robot arms?
I'll give it a try.
They rather see you have like a rat on a stick.
Yeah,
like, what do they want?
right, yeah, I'll try it for sure.
What other kind of tools are you using in terms of either creating the videos or anything else?
Yeah, the big one for me, the one I've stuck like because I've kind of tried like vidIQ and TubeBuddy and all this one. The one that like I really love and I've kept up with is Creator Hooks. So they, I think it's just done manually. This guy, he just tracks every sort of outlier. Well, not every, but he finds outlier videos. Like this one performed 5 times better than average for this channel. And then he dissects the thumbnail and the hook. Specifically like the title, and he explains why it works. And what's really cool is like, it's super searchable.
The hook as well, or the title or the thumbnail?
He calls the hook the title and thumbnail.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
It's really title and thumbnail. But he kind of dissects why it works. I've kind of learned I think maybe like, and it might be kind of luck, but the first time I used it, it was my best performing video of all time. So I think like it might have
got
been, like,
you
a
into
slot
it.
machine thing where I just was like, okay, that's it, But no, it's really good for learning too, and especially like it's all sort of categorized. You can say, show me every outlier where they talked about mistakes or things like that, and like so you can see all these people's takes on it, or videos for beginners and things like that.
Yeah, titles, thumbnails, and then the hook at the start is like crazy important.
Well, that's the other thing I've experimented a ton with is that hook. Because I'm a rambler, so my first several months of videos I would just talk for 3 minutes before I'd actually start the video, and what I found is like and I just started shortening it, and I found that like that sweet spot for me is like 10 seconds. Like just okay,
Hmm.
here's what we're doing, let's go. And like that's what actually keeps my retention up.
Nice. So anything else besides creator hooks? Do you like 1 of 10? Do you not use that?
I tried it, I found it really confusing.
Okay.
Couldn't really figure out how to use it. It seemed like everything it was bringing up was like gaming channels, and it didn't quite seem applicable for me. I don't know, maybe I just didn't use it right.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So creator hooks. So you're not using TubeBuddy or VidIQ anymore?
What else did I try? I'm trying to think. There was something else. Oh, I was just gonna say there was a video creators. I can't remember the guy's name, but he did like a pretty good course I bought in the beginning.
Okay.
It was like $100 course about here's how to like set up your channel and stuff like that. And I found that to be pretty useful.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some video the other day you'd seen about like 23 things to do after you upload your video.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, because that was Vanessa Lau. She does good like YouTube and Instagram stuff, but it was all about how to get the keywords and all those type of things, how to set up the description correctly. And I did change those things, and it, again, might be kind of like that what I said with creator hooks, but like the video I did where I actually kind of stepped through and did all that stuff, it wasn't like one of my strongest videos. I was like, it was super like nitty gritty banjo stuff. I didn't think it was going to do that well,
Hmm.
and it did better than average.
Okay.
And I felt like it did get some extra clicks from those couple of things.
So talk to me about pricing for the courses. What are you charging for any of them? What's the kind of price range that you've got in place?
Yeah, that's tough, right? Because it's something I've struggled with a lot for the last year. I've charged everywhere between $10 and $200. $10 being my super early live sessions, and then $200 being more recently. It's weird, right? Because you don't want to price anyone out, but to go get private lessons is 75 to $100 an hour, and so I think that a 6-hour course or whatever is pretty reasonable for like 100, 150. But it's weird. I find that people that learn online tend to be a little price sensitive.
Hmm.
And so I've found about 150 is the sweet spot. However, I have a few super low ticket things that do really well. Like I said, that book brings in, about $1,500 a month. And the I did a beginner level book recently. That was just 15 songs specifically for beginners. I sold that for 19, and that also does really well. I kind of keep going back and forth between in my mind, like, do I like, is it better to just be doing, low ticket items and maybe have...
$150 is already low ticket.
No, that's true. Fair enough. Yeah, but like you look at like, okay, like there's guys in the banjo space that like they do a $5 a month Patreon. That's their whole business, and they do well.
Yeah, I mean we've done a lot of testing, including in the hobby space, including in the music hobby space, right? And it's almost always the sweet spot is between about $100 and $200 for a course. And it's like, and specifically for what you are selling in the monthly promotion in particular, because that's where the bulk of the sales come in, right? And if you price much lower than $100 or any lower than $100, you're basically giving up the revenue. You'll have not that many more sales, but the revenue will be lower because the price is lower. And if you go much above 200, 250 definitely, then the number of sales drops off significantly. So somewhere in there, like about 150 is normally about the sweet spot we found with a lot of clients across a lot of different niches. So talk to me about experiments that you've run that haven't worked. What's some of the stuff you've tried that you're like, actually, no, not anymore. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, well, I just mentioned Patreon, and like I thought, well, maybe that's like a good route, the subscription revenue, whatever. And I did a low price Patreon, and I did it for about 2 months and decided to shut it down. It was like a lot of work. I couldn't really figure out where to insert it because I have that Tripwire offer, right? Which makes more sense to me than the Patreon. I didn't really have a good place to sell the Patreon. Churn on it was like incredibly high. You would see, I had a good amount of content on there. I was adding a video every week. But you would see people sign up, they'd binge everything in a couple days and then cancel. I'm like, it's $5 a month. Stick with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I still have Patreons I've forgotten I've had from years ago. Like, not that I want people to like, subscribe and forget about it, but like, I don't know. I thought like it'd be a super low barrier to entry way to get more content. But what I found was like the people, I don't know, it was just like I think the people that were willing to do that versus like a more full featured course just wanted like a bunch of stuff real quick and then wanted to chat, you know.
Okay, so the Patreon didn't work out. Anything else that you've tried and then ditched?
Yeah. In the beginning, really for a lot in the first year, I was doing these live sessions like basically every week, right? And I thought like banjo music, it's a community thing. People want to hang out, you know, in this sort of these live things. And it might be a time zone thing too, since I'm in England. But I found that people were much happier to buy a pre-recorded thing than they were to attend live sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I would um, sell, like, say, I'm going to do these 8 live sessions and you can get the recordings afterwards, most people would actually just watch the recordings the next day rather than attend the live sessions, um, which is kind of good for me because sometimes it's hard to keep your energy up for like a 60 to 90
Hmm.
minute session. Like I feel like the product is better when I don't do it live. I just thought that my theory was that people would prefer a live session. And it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, you just got to suck it and see sometimes, right? You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
try something out. You
right.
think, okay, no, that didn't work. You try something different.
Yeah, so going forward, I'm not going to be doing like maybe a live Q&A once in a while or something like that, but it's not going to be sort of the standard for my courses.
So if we add all this stuff up together, right? We've got you've been doing your one YouTube video long form every week, your 4 or 5 shorts a week for a period, and then dropping off, and then averaging 2 or 3 a week over the course of the year. That's allowed you to build up 5,000 subscribers and, more crucially, about 20,000 long form views. I think that's way more important as a number,
Right.
because that's the views is what can convert into email subscribers. You then, was it 20,000? I got that number right.
30,000.
30,000 wasn't that total with the shorts?
No, it was
as well?
about 40 to 50,000.
Okay, so 30,000 long form views and another 10 or 20,000 shorts. Okay, got it. From that, you've got a high opt-in rate onto your email list. So that's a crucial bit there as well. And then once a month, you run an email promotion to your list. Is it just once a month, or do you ever do 2?
I tried in the beginning to do like 2 a month. Found that to be a little stressful for me, and I felt like I was kind of hammering them with offers constantly. I just I'd like just,
One thing we do sometimes is one main promotion and then a flash sale, like a 2-day flash
I
sale,
could see doing something like that. Yeah, yeah.
because it's easier to write.
Right.
And it's not like bombarding people. It's just like 2 or 3 emails over the course of 2 days. And it's like, okay, cool. That gets another little bit of revenue. And then the main thing you're selling is the courses. You do have a little bit sometimes of some one-to-one stuff that you're doing on top that's kind of allowing you to boost up the revenue. You've got order bumps, you've got upsells, you've got a Tripwire funnel, which is converting really well. And all of that is what's meant that in a year, you've been able to get up to 5,000 a month in revenue. What has allowed you to be so consistent with all of that? Because I definitely see course creators who are a few years in and are doing it as a side gig and are not managed this yet. You've been working full time on this, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think the idea was coming from having a SaaS business. I think I think that sort of built that ability to be consistent for me, and not wanting to do a SaaS business or get a real job is enough to kind of keep me moving along and steady here. And plus, you know, we have this weekly group that co-works every Friday. We do a quick planning meeting, and that just sort of keeps me on track with everything going on. I kind of want to come in there and say like, oh, these are the things I did. This is the progress I made, you know, and that actually that bit of accountability is super helpful.
Mm. And if you're thinking what I could do with some of that accountability and someone helping me with this, is like Jack's got a slight advantage in that like we're friends, and so anytime he has a question about like opt-ins or email promotions or whatever, we'll just chat about it. But if you do want help with that kind of thing, we do have a coaching program which is specifically designed for helping course creators to actually be able to get all of this stuff in place. If you want to find out more about that, go to datadrivenmarketing.co and click on book a call. And you can have a chat with us and we can kind of tell you a little bit more about that. Any more tips, anything more that you've learned that you a year ago would have loved to have heard in terms of like, make sure you do this or don't spend time on that, or like, you know, what advice would you give 1 year ago, Jack?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just get those get those things into place immediately, like your funnels and your email list and all that kind of stuff, and really be pushing that, because I have a tiny audience, and
Hmm.
like it's honestly kind of crazy that I'm able to make 5K a month from 5,000 YouTube subscribers, but it's definitely possible if you've sort of got all these other things in place. And then other than that, I mean, I think the big thing is just to have fun with it. I always stressed about, um, my YouTube delivery and like, all that kind of stuff, and just being natural, minimal editing, just sort of have just let like your enjoyment and your fun shine through rather than these sort of tightly scripted things. Those videos were terrible of mine, and when I was trying to like, I'm like reading a script looking like a deer in headlights, and if I just kind of relax and have fun, it comes out a lot better, and it's easier for me, it's more fun.
So something you said in there is very, very different to what most people do. You said to start off from the very beginning with doing the work on the email marketing and the funnels and getting people onto your email list. Nobody does that.
Right.
Like almost everybody, or certainly everybody who I talk to, right, all the people who are coming to us, haven't had any of that stuff in place until they've built up a much bigger following than you have. And it's like I talked to somebody today, and she's got 1.3 million followers on Facebook, 689,000 followers on Instagram, 78,000 subscribers on YouTube, and is making like much less money than you are, because she hasn't done all of this stuff. So like, what helped me to help them? If that person is listening, like, because I really, really, really want to help people get their head around the fact everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll do more, I'll do that later, I'll come back to that later, I'll do that when, whatever. But they should be doing it now from the beginning. Like, can you help me to convince them?
Do you think they're trying to build a business, or it's just like a hobby that they've ended up with?
They don't think of themselves as a business owner. They think of themselves as a creator, and they know they need to do this, but they don't really want to, and they're uncomfortable. And then so they'll find 1,000 excuses as to why they don't.
I think like at the very least, like as long as you start building that email list, so just make a lead magnet, put it out there, and say, go sign up for my lead magnet, send one email a month, just to keep it warm. And even if you just start that from like day one, I think you'll be in
Much better place.
yeah. And even if you're not sure you're going to use it ever, whatever, eventually you can just delete the email list if you decide.
Because the thing is, right, with YouTube, if you had a video that goes crazy viral, you don't know, it could happen at any point, your best performing video, you can't add back in the bit where you tell people to go sign up to the lead magnet.
Yeah.
And having that mentioned in the video makes a massive difference to the opt-in rate versus just having it in the description and the pinned comment.
Yeah, still about 20% of my list signups come from a video I made a year ago. It was like one of the first videos I made when I got serious with my channel.
Yeah.
It still gets views, and so yeah, it still brings in, I'm not sure how many, but quite a few. Like 20% of my email list signups come from me in the beginning of that video saying, hey, if you don't know what you're doing, go download this.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, Jack, I've heard you. I want to go do this, but I don't know exactly how. We've kind of talked about it a bit in this episode. Go to datadrivenmarketing.co/resources. And I've got a couple of guides there that are going to teach you exactly how to do this. Go through the YouTube channel, go search datadrivenmarketing.co/YouTube. I've got videos on there that are taking you through exactly step by step how to improve your opt-in rate, all the stuff that we've just kind of gone through today. Check out Jack's channel, Banjo Skills, and then you're going to get your whole YouTube algorithm will be messed up, and you'll get loads of videos about banjo from loads of other people as well. But you will now be able to see that's what Jack's doing. It's this where he mentions it in the video. This is where to put it. Make that change, and future you will thank you so much for having done this, because you'll have a much bigger email list and you'll be able to make like way more money from it. This is like a really, really big deal. It is like so valuable.
Yeah, banjoskills.com or YouTube, my Banjo Skills channel, and there's just Banjo Skills.
Well, Jack, thanks so much for coming on today. If people want to go check out your stuff, where should they go? Yeah, just search for Banjo Skills, and it actually does come up now.
Yes,
it didn't used to.
Yeah.
And then I searched for like Banjo Skills, Jack Kowalski.
Right,
then it didn't come up, and I'm like, okay, you're going to have to give me the URL here, dude.
No, it's good now.
So banjoskills.com, search for Banjo Skills on YouTube, go check out your stuff there. Yeah. That's wicked, man. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your expertise with everybody.